Time for the morning trade. Microsoft. Joining us now is Alex Coffey, the co-host of Next Gen Investing. Alex, I can't believe we're finally saying it since we've been talking about this basically since I started here at the network, January 2022. The last and final hurdle. Looks like the Activision deal might actually go through with Microsoft.
Well, it will go through. The deal's closed. I mean, pending one last thing, which is that Ubisoft, of course, does acquire the cloud streaming rights, but that deal is effectively done. I don't know that the market's surprised by this. When you look at kind of the price action in Activision since mid-July, this has essentially been priced in. As the stock gapped up at that time, it's sort of been inching closer to this takeout price, sort of reflecting the cost of capital and the fact that interest rates are over 5%. But you look at Microsoft, you look at Take-Two, you look at EA, nothing's really reacting dramatically because, like I said, I think this was sort of the expectation. But it is, as you said, been about 21 months. It's been a long and pretty brutal process for this particular deal. Microsoft did issue a statement. The president, Brad Smith, said that they're grateful for the CMA, which of course is the UK Competition and Market Authority, which was that last regulatory organization to essentially green light this. They said they're grateful for the thorough review and decision today, that they have crossed the final regulatory hurdle to close this acquisition. Activision did issue an 8K filing that says the deal has closed. Again, this is all pending, of course, Ubisoft, the French company, acquiring those cloud streaming rights from Activision and Microsoft. But it seems we've closed the final chapter here, absent some sort of significant hiccup with that Ubisoft portion of the deal.
And you mentioned not having a huge impact on Microsoft shares right now. They're up about 0.6%, but hard to say if that is actually because of this Activision deal. Obviously, there's so much more to the company than just that. But what about the impact of the deal on Microsoft as a company? How much impact could it actually have in terms of potentially boosting the bottom line?
Yeah, I mean, they spent nearly $70 billion on this company. Certainly, they see it as a formidable path for growth going forward. They'll be a key player in video games, from the making of them, of course, to the actual consoles, which they were already a key player in with their Xbox system. So it's certainly going to be an important piece, but I think most importantly right now for investors, this is something where now both companies can focus on integrating together as opposed to this kind of constant uncertainty of whether or not and when this deal would go through, if it was to go through. So now they can move on beyond that, and now they can start working on what they can do to boost that bottom line for Microsoft shareholders.
But as you said, competition doesn't seem all that shaken up. And I was just taking a look. Take-Two up almost 40% year-to-date. Electronic Arts not seeing that much of an outsized gain, only up about 8% year-to-date. So it doesn't seem like they're worried about it being too much of a threat.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense, right? From that standpoint, it's in the best interest of a company like Microsoft to still offer those games on their systems. And of course, to the same extent, they've succeeded in competing against a company like Activision for years. That's why these companies exist. They have sort of their niches they operate in. I always think of EA sort of dominating the sports gaming world. Something like Take-Two, associations with things like GTA, Red Dead Redemption, a little bit different style video games. And of course, Activision, we know, has Call of Duty and some of the other titles. But the big issue was more with sort of the console makers, names like Sony. Are they still going to have rights to, have Activision's platforms and games on their platforms? And of course, those were all things that had to be, kind of figured out. And as it seems, Call of Duty will still be available on all those different platforms. So can be the best for both worlds here, but. Microsoft themselves say they believe that this is going to benefit both players and the gaming industry worldwide. So it could be a situation, at least from Microsoft's perspective, that the industry only benefits from this, and the rising tide benefits all the boats.
Yeah, but even if it didn't stand to benefit Microsoft for offering all of its games on all the platforms, they didn't have a choice. That was very clear amidst all of this regulatory drama that we saw play out. Alex, thanks so much.